Hey guys, this is the Yamaha FG420-L. I used to have two of these. Now I've got three. Picked this up on Facebook. Really excellent price. So I couldn't say no to it. Plus, my original guitar I ever owned was an FG420-L that I bought back in 1985-86. And I found another one just a couple of years ago. You don't see them anywhere, but I found one that also had the pickups in it, so I had to pick it up. And then the other day I was looking on Facebook again, and the third came up, and it's an hour's drive from here, under $200. Yeah, so I took it. And this one, it looks like the nut's been replaced, and possibly with bone. I'm pretty sure it's been replaced either way we go about it. And the action is really low. We haven't looked at that. We'll check it out in a bit. The only thing with these ones is being the 1985-86, they had the dove motif on the headstock. And the fret markers were what was described to me as the snowflake pattern. And the only real mark on the fretboard at all is a little scratch here on the 9th fret. So let's take a look at it and check out how the setup really is. It looked good from what I had a chance to see, but let's go over and check what it really should be at. So first we're going to check the action at the nut. What we're going to do is put the capo on the 3rd fret, and then what you would like to have is just a little bit of gap between the string and the 1st fret. These are really low, but there does seem to be some movement in most of them. Well, this one might be, no, looks really good. Whoever did that nut did a pretty good job. It's pretty low, but it's good. Now, if you don't have, if you do have feeler gauges, what you want to do is make sure that without the capo on here, you've got about 0.020, 0.018, and 0.016. Two sets of strings apart is roughly where you want to go. Let's have a look at this one. So if you have feeler gauges, what you want is to get out your 0.020, 0.018, and 0.016 inch feeler gauges. Top two here, you want a 0.020 without the capo. That's pretty much perfect. The middle two go to be 0.018. Ooh. And skinny two. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. They've got this perfect, low as possible. Now let's take a look down the neck and see how the relief looks. And from looking down the neck, it's about as straight as it's ever going to be. There's like hardly any bow in that at all. It is like arrow straight. So let's go over every fretted note and make sure that we have no buzzing. Nothing up to there. Up over in there, who cares? It certainly does what it was meant to do. Right on. Okay. We don't have to do any setup on this at all. We've got to introduce it to its sisters. Whew. Triplets. So a couple more measurements we want to do. First off, let's take a long straight edge, go down between the third and fourth string, rest it on the fretboard, and it just scrapes across here. This here neck is so flat. I think I've been here, because this is the way I would set up a guitar. Can't believe that whoever played this loved this. That's for sure. Now let's check the action at the 12th, and I have a feeling it's going to be exactly what I want. And survey says in millimeters, just barely 175. 175. Oh yeah. .175 right across the board. I need to know who owned this guitar now, because they obviously knew what they were doing. Let's see, one little mark in the back of the neck. Scuff marks, nothing that feels, just that one there, and it's on the top, so it shouldn't matter much. Somebody had a strap peg in here. That would be much better if this was a right-handed guitar, but that's not a good spot for it. So there was also a hole right in the bottom of the heel, and there's a little crack there, but I think it's just the finish. We might have to sand off the bottom of the heel and see. It would suck, but at the same time, the rest of this is more than adequate. There is a little hairline crack right there in the heel, right down the middle. But surprisingly enough, it was also tuned down to DGC FAD, like I always do with all mine. So I would really like to know who owned this guitar, because they'd play it exactly like I would. Strings look a little bit worn. Looks like there's a little bit of DNA in the grooves. So we're going to loosen off all the strings. You always want to, whenever you're doing any sort of setup or cleaning where we're not going to bother changing the strings completely, always loosen the skinny strings first. All I want to do is just get them out of the way of the fretboard so I can give it a good cleaning, because I can see a lot of marks. And you loosen the skinny strings first, because if you loosen the fat strings first, there's a whole lot of more pressure going to be put on there. So next, the rope trick. And of course, the rope trick is where you loosen off the 3 strings on either side, get a piece of string, come up between all 3 strings, woo, and tie these back behind the back of the neck, therefore exposing the fretboard for cleaning. The rope trick. So the fretboard looks oily enough, excuse the noise, traffic and that, but it's a nice day to have the windows open, especially when you're spraying this stuff. Guitar cleaner, not a paid promotion. Okay. So as I was saying, the fretboard doesn't look like it's dried out at all. It looks good in moisture, but there's just a little bit of dirt coming up between the strings. So we're going to go over it and do the complete thing with a real good scrubbing. Put a good wipe off and see what it really looks like. There's a lot of like little itty bitty dings up in here, like the world's smallest woodpecker or something like that, and not of course that deep, but you know, itty bittiest. And there's a little scratch across there. It looked like this here part and this part was discolored. Well, not it's not gone white smoky. It's almost a little darker. Almost looks like what you would like a curly wood, but I don't know because I haven't got a really good look at it in the sunshine yet. So let's get it all cleaned up and see how it looks. So a little trick to doing under the strings if you're not changing the strings. Get feeler gauge, double over the rag, get it preset, and then push it under. That way you don't mark the strings, you don't mark the wood, and you do clean out that part that's right underneath the strings that is so hard to clean without taking the strings right off. This thing is in really good condition. Like, it's 40 years old and it's got a few marks that I wouldn't even call them dings. I haven't really found a really good ding yet that I will tell you when I find it, but 40 years of, you know, slight scratching. I got myself a real nice find here. Somebody's going to be happy, because I think I'm going to have this one go down the road, but they stay around for a good 3 to 6 months, so I get a good chance to grow on me and see if I want to really sell them or not. Thing about a Yamaha is you really can't go wrong. You got the Yamaha liability and build quality without the Harley Davidson price. Okay, let's take another good close look at this and inspect. No, let's do the rest of the neck and the headstock. there's just the slightest bit of cloud in this here area here if you get in the right light. But it may come out with a buffing. It doesn't come off with the cleaner, so it's more than that. But a buffing or a waxing might just take that all out of play. This is a really nice guitar. I did better for myself than I thought I would. Wow. The neck is fairly good. Like there's one little ding there, a little cloudy, but smooth. So, you know, it's nothing that's going to affect the playability. And it doesn't look like you have to be really careful with it. So clean up under the pegs. The tuners felt pretty good. I didn't feel anything out of it, like when I loosened off all the strings. So there's that. So now we got all the tension off of the strings. This is when you grab a hold of every one of your tuning pegs and just give it a little rattle. And all of these are, well, most of these. This one's got a little bit of play, but not bad. That one a little bit too. This one's the most. But that's Big E. Yeah, that's a fine spot for it. There's a little bit of tarnish on the backs of the tuning peg covers, unless it's just that there's a slight bit of a grime or grease covering it over. And do up under that tuning pegs. Okay, let's flip her back over and take a look at the front. I'm going to utilize the feeler gauge. I'm going to utilize the feeler gauge again to do underneath the strings up at the headstock. You can get enough pressure to clean that. There's a couple of scratches up in there, so I'm positive this here nut has been replaced, but it's been replaced with a very adequate replacement. It's not pretty, but it is doing what it was meant to do, doing all nutty things and stuff. I really am just amazed that I was able to find another one of these. 3 of them. 3 of what's got to be some of the most rare guitars Yamaha ever put out. It's got to be up there in the top tier, that's for sure. Like for least number of guitars made. If only was there a way to find out how many left-handed FG420-Ls there were. Siri. I don't have Siri. I got Karen. She hates me. Okay, time to spend a little elbow grease on this headstock. It looks like we untied the strings a little too early because we are going to do an internal examination. So you tie your arms behind your back and we're going in. Got a flashlight here that I'm going to put down in there. And I will point it in a general direction so it gets the whole front end. And this is an inspection mirror. This will bring out the inner dentist in you. Open up, say ah. So, you've been fishing lately? Where do you go? Everything looks just like a, guitar. Don't see any markings so far. Eyeballs. Okay, then let's turn the light around. Light up the back. Go for the long distance shots. A little bit of dust. Yeah, leaf blower wouldn't hurt none. Okay, so along the walls, I don't see any. There's a big dust bunny right on the peg. Alright. Shall we? Oh, numbers. 828070. August 7th of 86. Well, we'll have to see if we can figure that out. So that first, what looked to be a C, is really an 8. Yeah. Take a picture. Take a picture. Where was it? Okay, so it's over there. And survey says 070828. 07 August 8th. I don't know. Shouldn't be an 87. It should be an 85 or an 86. I'm not seeing a 5 or a 6 in there either. Where? Well, the mystery continues. Either in any way we go about it, we got to get out the vacuum cleaner to try and get some of those dust bunnies. So I spared you the sound of the vacuum cleaner, but basically it was fairly beautiful in there. There was a little dust bunny on the end of the strap peg, but I was able to get in far enough to knock it off and then suck it up with the vacuum cleaner. So now it's just looks like it's put the strings back where they're supposed to be and tune it up. I can't believe this is like the easiest rescue we've ever done, because everything was perfect, exactly where I would want it. Wow. Let's restring the baby. And whoever strung this last needs a little, I don't know, maybe it was a longshoreman, and those are special knots that will hold boats from coming off their moorings, but they're not really guitar string ones. It's set up perfect. It plays perfect. It is what it is for the money. We're gonna have to, oh no, And the last thing is to introduce her to her 2 lost siblings. Ladies and gentlemen, 3, 85, 86, those 2 for sure, 85. I believe this one's an 86. Yamaha FG420-L left with the dove motif headstock. Very, very rare guitars. They're not overly high end. They're like only the one above low, because the 10 series is basically the guitar. 20 series, they put extra into the actual construction of it. They made it a better guitar. Once you get above that, a lot of the upgrades are different purfling or, you know, edging, that sort of thing. So it is a very capable guitar, and I'm gonna have to play it off against its sisters to see just how they differ. Alright, thanks for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, leave a comment below, tell me what I did right, did wrong. I didn't do anything, so I couldn't have done anything wrong, and this thing is, I can't find anything I wanted to adjust on it. Probably change the strings, but that comes with time anyways. And at that point, maybe we should change the strings on all 3 of them and play them off against each other. See how that goes. Bye now.